Today's tutorial would be on family for forms 1 to 3. The tutorial will start with a note taking, after which I will explain the note. So you can pause the video at any point in time to get out your notebook. Make sure that all notes are taken in a particular order and it is taken neatly and in detail. Anything that you feel that you missed, you can always rewind the video, so to speak. You can pause it whenever if you feel that I am calling the note too fast, and try to make sure to get all the notes because it is important. So again, today's tutorial is on the family based on the Form 1 to 3 curriculum. So we are going to start. As a heading, the family. Skip a line. Definition dash. A family is a group of people who share certain connections and attachments, full stop. In the past, comma, these connections have traditionally been understood to mean that the people are related by blood, comma, which suggests a biological linkage, comma, or through a particular form of relationship, comma, such as marriage, full stop. Such blood relationships are known as kinship, full stop. Typically, comma, members of a family unit will share the same residence, full stop. Skip a line. Now you're going to write a subheading. What is called a subheading? A subheading is not the main heading, but part of the topic, a heading as part of the topic that entails another part of a definition or concepts within the topic. So when I say skip a line as a subheading, you try to write it in capital letters, or if you just write it out, you try to underline it or highlight it in some way. So skip a line, a subheading, the basic functions of the family. Next line 1. The family as a unit of procreation. Procreation, Procreation. Procreation. Dash. When humans produce offsprings, comma, this is called procreation. Full stop. Human procreation allows for a society to continue since this process produces new members to replace those who die or migrate, full stop. Skip a line 2. The family as a unit of socialization. Dash. The family provides for the socialization of its members, full stop. Socialization is to do with developing an attitude in children and young people that encourages them to make a useful contribution in society, full stop. Children, comma, in particular, comma, are taught about, colon, next line, hyphen, acceptable behaviors in society, comma, values, comma, attitudes, and aspects of culture. Next line, hyphen. How inappropriate behavior receives sanctions. Next line, hyphen. Their roles and responsibilities. Next line, hyphen. Basic skills, full stop. Next line. In a family, comma, children learn how to behave in the society into which they have been born, full stop. They learn about the kinds of behavior that are accepted and expected, comma, including, comma, for example, comma, the basic sets of manners used in greetings and in making requests, full stop. As they learn these skills, comma, children are taught, T-A-U-G-H-T, taught about the values that underpin them, underpin, one word, UNDERPIN, underpin them, semicolon, such as respect and consideration, full stop. Children also learn about the roles and responsibilities they currently have and those they will have when they become adults, full stop. Children learn basic skills to help them To become independent. Skip a line 3. The family as an economic unit. Dash. Different family members take on different roles and responsibilities, comma, share out the workload, and pool resources. Full stop. By working together, comma, the family is more likely to be able to meet its basic needs for food, comma, clothing and shelter. Full stop. The family that meets its own basic needs will not require financial assistance from the government. Full stop. The working members of a family will be making a contribution to society through the payment of taxes. Skip a line 4. The family as a social unit. Dash. Our well-being as humans relies on more than simply having our physical needs met, open bracket, for food, comma, clothing and shelter, close bracket, full stop. We also have emotional and psychological needs, full stop. We need to know that we are loved, comma, wanted and protected, full stop. Our family should provide the environment in which these needs are met, full stop. Our family also gives us a sense of identity and a feeling of belonging, full stop. Skip a couple of lines or go to a new page. We're still on family, but we are trying to separate our notes so that ideally we would be able to find back answers easily when doing exercises. So you skip a couple of lines, so 2 or 3 lines, or if you want, you can go to a new page. Different family types and unions. Skip a line. Family types. Next line 1. Nuclear family. Nuclear. Nuclear. Nuclear family. Dash. The term nuclear family is most commonly used to describe a father and mother who, comma, together with their children, comma, share a dwelling, full stop. The children can be the biological offspring of one or both parents, or they may be adopted, full stop. Skip a line. 2. Extended family. Dash. Extended families include individuals from more than 2 generations, and a wider range of kinship relations, comma, including aunts, 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 comma, uncles, comma, cousins, comma, nieces, comma, nephews and grandparents, full stop. Extended families in Caribbean society have important functions such as providing childcare, when parents are at work, or away from home, full stop. Three, sibling families. In sibling families, comma, both parents are absent because of migration, comma, imprisonment, or death, comma, and an older brother or sister takes care of younger siblings and manages the upkeep and maintenance, maintenance, of the dwelling, full stop. Skip a line. 4, single parent family. Dash, in a single parent family, only one parent is present, and in most cases, this is the mother. Skip 2 lines. Family unions as a subheading. Next line. 1, Legal marriage. Dash. A legal marriage is a lawfully recognized union between a man and a woman. First up, the married couple would usually share the same residence. Two, consensual, consensual, or common law union. Dash, in these relationships, a man and a woman are not legally married, but they do share a common residence. Full stop. Okay, so that is basically the notes for family that is required, that is mainly required for Form 1 to 3 level. You must have an idea of the family tree as well. You can research it, at least to know what it looks like, because I would be posting questions on that eventually. So we will go back from the beginning of your notes, and we would have a brief discussion on what the family is really about in the Caribbean society. Now, firstly, at the start of your note, we had a definition of the family. The family is a group of people who share certain connections and attachments. Basically, the family is a group of people related by blood and resides in the same residence. However, that is a traditional, as your note would state, the word traditionally, related by blood. That is a traditional definition. And basically, in modern day society, not all families would actually be related by blood. We have family unions that has adopted children. We have family types that also has what we call the reconstituted family, which is made up of two people who were previously married and had children and have brought themselves and the children into one union as well, creating a family. So in modern day society, not all families are related by blood. Okay, but you should still learn the basic definition that a family is a group of people who share certain attachments and are usually or traditionally related by blood and reside in the same residence. Now, the basic functions of the family is very important. Now, before, we would have heard long ago a lot of social studies teachers and a lot of people in society, a lot of politicians, a lot of people who would comment on societal aspects um, in society based on things like crime, deviance, any sort of juvenile delinquency, etc. And they would relate it back to the family, and they would say that we need to focus more on family values because the family is basically the cornerstone of society. The cornerstone of society meaning that it is believed that the family is one of the strongest institutions of society, that all other institutions actually branches out into and creates all other institutions or supports all other institutions because it really molds the individual and creates the individual into who he or she is, and in turn who a person is molded into leads to their productivity, whether they would be a criminal, whether they will be delinquent or not, or how productive they will be in society and be able to contribute to society. So thereby, the functions of the family is very important for you all to understand as well. Now the first function that we have is procreation. So although we have a sentence as a subheading or as a function, you can always highlight one word from each. So for this one, procreation. Procreation is really reproduction, okay, or producing offsprings in a healthy environment, being the family, or a socially acceptable environment, being the family. Not all individuals in society have been procreated within the family. Some have been procreated outside of the family. However, the family is seen as the best means of procreation. In that, however, procreation, I should say, is important for society, and it is an important function that the family also creates because it allows for society to continue, because we have people who would eventually die, migrate, etc. So procreation is important, even though we may not want things to happen like overpopulation, etc. We still need procreation, and the healthiest way for that to happen is within the confines of the family. Another function of the family would be socialization. Socialization is very, very important because socialization actually teaches the individual acceptable behavior in society. It teaches them values, appropriate behavior, their roles and responsibility, and basic life skills. In fact, the family, if you think about it, from the time a child begins to grow and speak and walk, etc., okay, from as early as a year old or even younger, for some children, depending on how fast they develop, their parents attempt to teach them basic life skills, right? Like basically when they are speaking, to say hello, hi, thank you, things like that. Okay, please, and be courteous, like waving to people, etc. All of this is part of socialization. And then when they begin to eat, the family attempts to teach them how to eat properly, using proper utensils, etc., and how to dress properly. When they learn to dress themselves, how to dress properly, proper hygiene, all these different things are part of socialization. How to speak to people and how to be respectable, what is the difference between right and wrong, and how to make proper choices. And the list can go on and on. All of these things are part of socialization. So socialization is very, very important. A person who does not have proper socialization can end up creating a lot of havoc in society. And sometimes the first place that they start to create havoc is right in the family, And the second place they start to create havoc in is in school, at school. Okay, so a lot of students who at school who may have is problems in school like bullying, stealing, disrespecting teachers, having problems getting along with their peers, etc. A lot of these children have problems either in they were poorly socialized, or later down we also have the social unit aspect of the function, which is they may have had problem with emotional and psychological needs. So this is how important the family is. So on a day-to-day basis, when your parents speak to you and your parents try to tell you what is right from wrong, etc., they are really molding you, they are socializing you to have basic life skills, so when you become an adult you will be productive, because that is one of the main purpose of socialization, right? To for people to learn about the kind of behavior that are acceptable and is expected, okay, in society when they move about from group to group. The third function would have been economic unit. Now it is important that the family provides for its members, and when I say provide financially, it covers a lot of things, because a lot of people confuse functions of the family, and they say things like education is a function of the family, or food, clothing, and shelter. But economic unit is the function, food, clothing, and shelter, education, healthcare, and all the other things once it deals with the use of money are examples of the economic unit. So the economic unit would be the answer, the financial unit, okay, and everything else basically are examples. So economic unit is a function, and basically it assists with the need for food, clothing, and shelter of the individual, and also education, healthcare, etc. Now sometimes there are certain families who may have difficulty with or challenge to be able to provide for their family, and that is where the government sometimes steps in, okay. And then we have the fourth function of the family, which is the social unit, which is providing emotional and psychological care for the individual. In the family, it is important that the individual not only feels that their physical needs are met, like food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, etc., but also their emotional and psychological needs. So in the family, the individual needs to feel as though they are loved, wanted, and protected. The family is supposed to be somewhat of a sanctuary, and people are supposed to feel that they are protected and needed, and they are part of something. They are supposed to feel a sense of identity and a feeling of belonging, because that is part of human nature. So before we were speaking about the individual who may have social issues such as delinquency, such as criminal vices, etc. And we mentioned that in the family, one function that which may have failed the individual would have been socialization. Another function which may have failed the individual would be social unit. Some people may argue economic unit could fail the individual as well, but I believe that even if someone doesn't have everything that they need in terms of food, clothing, etc., they can also They can still be a productive individual if all the other needs are met. The socialization need and the food, clothing, and shelter. Now, the other aspect of our note taking was based on family types and union, which is pretty straightforward. You have to learn your definitions. You have the nuclear family that has mother, father, and children, whether owned or adopted. The extended family, basically, you must try to use the word more than 2 generations, meaning that it would involve grandparents, nieces, nephews, cousins, etc. The sibling type family are basically a family that the older or the eldest brother or sister actually takes care of the younger siblings. The single parent family is quite basic. It is one parent that is present, and in most cases it would be the mother. You have the family unions as well. You have the legal marriage, which is a lawfully recognized union between a man and a woman, and then you have the common law union, where they are not legally married but they do share common residence. So I hope that this tutorial was beneficial to you, and it would help you in your exercises that would follow.